And we are live. Welcome back to the show. I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, America's hometown, Massachusetts. It is a beautiful May afternoon, about 71 degrees here, high above Town Square in downtown Plymouth. I hope that you had a great Mother's Day weekend. We took my wife out to dinner here in downtown Plymouth, brunch, really. Yeah, it was brunch in downtown Plymouth with some other friends of ours. It was a great time. And I hope that you had a great Mother's Day weekend as well. It was a fairly chilly Mother's Day after Saturday is quite warm, but chilled down a little bit on Sunday with that sea breeze that we have in that we really enjoy in the summertime. But yes, just a touch cold. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much for coming. It is again, a beautiful Monday afternoon as we look out the window today. So let's get right to it, to our headlines in Massachusetts. This insanity that is Massachusetts. Let's start with BUR story. City approves converting Comfort Inn in Dorchester to housing for homeless. So this story came out last Friday, I believe, late Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. And well, I just can't believe this story because they, just like any good lefty news outlet, they bury the lead. Like when you try to read a Globe story, you have to read down to like the 8th paragraph to actually find the real meaning. And that's what's happening in this story. When you go down here, you'll find that the city is actually spending $49 million to create this hotel into a 99-unit homeless, basically, encampment. There's no word of whether or not you'll need to get clean or be clean in order to live at this facility. I'm guessing not, that you probably can still be a drug addict and live in this new location, which, by the way, for those of you who are not familiar with where this is going to be, that's 900 Morrissey Boulevard. That is the Comfort Inn, just across from Stop and Shop on Morrissey Boulevard, just after the Jiffy Lube as you're heading north, I guess. I think probably a lot of you have been there. Kind of right near that rotary, so to speak, with the Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, you know where that is. And yeah, just after the Jiffy Lube. I'm think a number of you probably have been. I've driven by there like a gazillion times. So they're going to be changing this motel, or hotel, I should say, into 99 units. The controversial project, which was opposed by the neighborhoods, would overhaul the 131-room unit it down to 99. They wanted 110 units, but they compromised and did 99 units. On-site support staff and around-the-clock security will be on hand. I'm thinking they're going to need the around-the-clock security. Yeah, that's probably going to be something they need. They hosted numerous meetings. Residents objected, but other neighborhoods supported it. Not a surprise. Ted Landsmark, he's in favor of it. Who's going to run this thing? The Pine Street Inn and the community builders are behind the proposal. The Comfort Inn is surrounded by Stop and Shop, the Murphy K-8 school, Dunkin' Donuts, Extra Space Storage, and Jiffy Lube. The 5-story building was first built in 1985. Two nonprofits committed to offering the units to seniors who are 62 years of age and older. Pine Street Inn manages 850 similar units across the city, and the average age of their residents is 57. So this is kind of more or less in their demographic age bracket kind of sweet spot. And the only thing that I can think of is basically this is going to be a release valve. No one's saying this, but basically this is going to be a release valve for what's happening at Methadone Bile and Mass and Cass. They're going to try to get a lot of those people that are living on the street, even though Mayor Wu says you've got to move your tent. If they refuse, they refuse. And she's going to try to get a lot of these Methadone Mile people into this building. And when we talk about burying the lead, you may have heard me say it's going to be $49.2 million to do this project, and they're creating 99 units. Now, that reminds me of like that Forrest Gump line. I'm not a smart man, but I could do some basic math. And so I got out my friendly calculator and I put in $49.2 million and I divided it by 99 units. And you come out with an average price per unit of $497,000 per housing unit. So, and I imagine that's per person. So they're going to house single individuals, and they're spending $497,000 per unit. You can buy a house for that. It might not be a glamorous, but you can buy a house for that price. This is financially insane and totally not sustainable. Now, they're saying that they're going to fund it by investor equity raised through federal and state low-income tax credits. I'm not even sure what that means. Maybe someone could tell me in the comments. And financing from the mayor's office and the state. Well, isn't that special? So basically, taxpayer dollars at $497,000 per housing unit to convert this hotel into a homeless shelter, basically. Again, this is targeted for people that are homeless. Sorry, trying to run a business here. Let me turn down the volume there. An absolutely insane waste of money. Imagine what they could have done with $49 million. How much, if they really cared, how many housing units they could have really created at a much better value point than 497,000. If you brought a project to developer and you said, developer, we're going to take this hotel on Morrissey Boulevard and we're going to convert it into 99 apartments. And the conversion price is going to be $497,000 per unit. Do you think it would be economically viable? And the developer's going to laugh you out of the room because it's an insane price to pay for a conversion. It's absolutely, on a per unit basis, absolutely positively insane. The Development Oversight Agency, talk about an oxymoron. The Development Oversight Agency finds that the project will constitute a public use and benefit, probably to the contractors that get the gig, right? I can see the public benefit to the contractor that lands the gig to rehab this building, right? That's where the public benefit is in the graph. Due to the renovation of the underused Comfort Inn. By the way, are they taking this by eminent domain, or is Comfort Inn just going to sell it to them? How does that work? The creation of construction jobs. Oh, it's a jobs program. Low-income housing, rebuilding Conley Street sidewalk, blah, 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 blah. Frank Baker was among the elected officials who logged into Thursday night meeting to register his opposition. Well, tough luck, Frank. State Senator Nick Collins also said he was opposed to it. Yeah. But Dorchester resident Molly Ryan, one person, good old Molly, said the tabling would be the wrong move. Having permanent supportive housing for elders and older adults who need it, that sounds amazing to me. Joining a sizable number of people who spoke in favor of the project before the vote. I'm just going out on a limb and saying that probably the people that voted for it don't live anywhere near it, right? That's kind of how these things work. Not that I'm a big NIMBY fan. And certainly it would be great if we had better housing available. Certainly it'd be great if we built a lot more housing. Certainly it'd be great if the city of Boston allowed for taller buildings to be built, especially around transit. But at $49.2 million, $497,000 per unit, this is a boondoggle, which reminds me actually of kind of what happens in Los Angeles. This totally reminds me of like a Los Angeles type of boondoggle. I can't remember how much they've been quoted. I think their prices were like $1 million per unit to build housing for homeless people in Los Angeles. Somebody can fact check me on that, but this has an echo of that, right? The numbers might not be the same, but it certainly has an echo of the amazing prices that LA and the state of California, Gavin Newsom, were basically spending to create homes for homeless people out in Los Angeles. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million. This has the same echo. Absolutely financially irresponsible. Imagine if they really cared about creating homes for homeless people. What they really could do with $49 million, if they really, I hate this phrase, but I'll use it, sharpen their pencil and actually buckle down. All right, so talk about homelessness. This next story has nothing to do with it, of course, but, well, maybe it does. Actually, drug use. Fentanyl test strips illegal in Massachusetts, other states despite deadly overdoses. They're actually, fentanyl test strip is actually illegal in 42 states. A fentanyl test strip is illegal in 42 states. But don't worry, there's a state rep that wants to make it legal here in Massachusetts so that you could test your illegal drugs before you took them so that you knew you wouldn't overdose with fentanyl. Yeah, talk about not really solving the problem, which would be how about not take the illegal drugs to begin with? Or how about closing the border so that the fentanyl doesn't come in the country to begin with? But oh no, let's not solve those problems. Let's just give you test strips so that you can make sure your street grade heroin doesn't have fentanyl in it. What happens when pretty much everything tests positive for fentanyl? Do you think your addict at Methadone, Mile, Mass, and Cass is going to buy some heroin off the street, use the needle that he probably got free from the city or free from somebody, and say, oh, before I take this heroin, let me use the test strip? No, he's not going to do that. But that's what the proposal is here. Where is it? It's just insane. Fentanyl has found its way into nearly every illicit drug bought in the black market. The number of deadly overdoses is up in Massachusetts. You remember for the most recent year statistics that we had over 100,000 people die of drug overdoses and or poisoning, depending on how you want to phrase it, in the United States. In what was that, 2021? I think it was the year that we have the most. That's well more than could fit in the entire Gillette Stadium. Bay State saw a nearly 10% dump in the number of bump. Do we want to use the word bump? In the number of fatal overdoses in 2021, with fentanyl playing an increasing role, state data show. Deadly synthetic opioid was present in 94% of fatal overdoses. U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the most public health endorse distributing fentanyl test strips. Oh, the CDC. Oh, well, we can depend upon them. They're always truthful. To help people who use drugs, they don't say illegal drugs, but drugs, detect the presence of the deadly chemical, but the practice is illegal in 42 states. Where the life-saving strips are classified as drug paraphernalia. But don't worry, Rep. Smitty is on the job. Rep. Smitty is looking to change that policy. He's filed a bill that would create a 3-year pilot program, and he's also filed a bill which would legalize the strips immediately. These bills were filed by Sue Moran. Oh my God, she's my state senator. She is as nutty as the day is long. And David Rogers, state rep, and Cindy Cream, state senator. Boston public health officials entered a warning in February about fentanyl. It scares the hell out of me, says Representative Smitty. You know, Representative Smitty, you know what scares the hell out of me is the fact that you don't actually want to solve the problem. You don't want to get these drug users clean. You just want to make sure that they don't overdose. You want to facilitate their addiction. That's what scares the hell out of me. Also, you have no interest in closing the border where most of our fentanyl that enters the country comes from. Just look at the nightly news. Go on Twitter. Pick up Bill Malugin from Fox. You can see what's coming over the border every single day. And that's where the fentanyl is coming from, and it's money laundered through China. This is nothing that you want to address. You just want to say, let's make sure our heroin here in Massachusetts doesn't have fentanyl. All the addicts will definitely test strip before they inject because they're so safety conscious. Insane. preliminary data says that things have gotten worse, says Representative Smitty, the Lennox Democrat. It's time to refocus our efforts on the long simmering opioid epidemic. Yeah, okay, sure, thanks. And a completely unrelated story. I know this is going to come as a shock to you, but the city of Salem, let's see if we get this headline up here. Salem leaders scale back mushroom enforcement. So I can't pronounce that word. I'm sure some of you can, but I can't pronounce it. I'm just going to say mushroom. The mushroom drug, the compound at the heart of fungi-based plant medicines like magic mushrooms, has been effectively decriminalized in Salem after a unanimous vote of the city council. Can they do that? Because I was pretty sure that was a state law, and you can't, as a municipality, amend state law unless you have like a home rule petition. So I don't know where the city of Salem comes around and changes state law, but that's apparently what they're doing. 9-0 voted to adopt a 5-part resolution, among other things, establishing an investigation and arrest of persons cultivating, purchasing, transporting, distributing, engaging in practice, blah, 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 shall be amongst the lowest law enforcement priority in the city of Salem. So basically, it's a decriminalization. It's just like that episode in The Wire, which is one of my favorite TV shows, where what's the character's name? Bunny Colvin creates the hamster dam. Now, that's for heroin. It's not for mushrooms. But if you want to get high on mushrooms, this will make for Halloween. This will make for Salem's Halloween to be very exciting. Maybe it will be a growth industry. In Salem, right? They don't have any problems up there during Halloween. The resolution came out of city council public health meetings that included a Salem resident, Mybelle Shields, and Salem police officer who both worked blah, 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 blah. They're not calling it to decriminalize, they're deprioritizing. Okay. Deprioritizing. Excuse me for a quick moment. Let me just answer this one question. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. But I had to get to that answer. Yeah. So they're basically just legalizing drugs, which I wonder what will happen next when one city says, oh, the city of Salem has deprioritized illegal mushrooms. What does it stop some other municipality in the Massachusetts from saying, oh, well, they deprioritized mushrooms. How about we deprioritize heroin, right? So this is a very dangerous precedent based upon what the city of Salem has just done. But I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, it's just mushrooms. No problem. But what if when someone takes that legal precedent and does the same thing with heroin or cocaine, or, creates basically a hamster dam in your city or town? Then I wonder how people will think about it. Well, Jane Fonda is back in Boston. You remember Jane Fonda? We heard about her a couple weeks ago when she suggested murdering people who were pro-life. And now she is back at the Boston Speaker Series at Symphony Hall. She's going to be speaking with all of these wonderful other people, including Adam Kinzinger and Michael Beschloss, who has repeatedly lost his mind over Trump. He's the so-called historian. And who else? Van Jones? I don't know who these other people are. Celine Cousteau, I imagine she's a relative of Jacques Cousteau. She's quite pretty. And Jane Fonda and Van Jones. So Jane Fonda, we're not going to spend a lot of this on this topic, but Jane Fonda, who suggested killing pro-life people, is coming to Boston. Book your ticket now. I know that you can't wait. It's really a top priority for you. Oh, good grief. Now, this story also just came in. just in the last hour or two. We don't have a lot of detail on it, but I think it's something we'll cover in tomorrow's show. A huge ruling out of the Massachusetts Supreme Court today, Supreme Judicial Court, SJC, from the Globe. SJC rules pedestrians have right to challenge arrests based on racial bias. Now, again, haven't read all about this yet, but I'm going to be hopefully learning more about this. It's just kind of breaking news, and we'll get to the bottom of that in tomorrow's show. I hope that'll be the goal, at least. Also out in Boston is Mayor Wu's new redistricting map. You remember the city of Boston has to redistrict by May 30th because their previous map was ruled unconstitutional by the federal judge, and therefore they have to redraw the lines. It was ruled unconstitutional in a violation of the 14th Amendment because it was racist against white people. And yeah, now to read this BUR article here, you'd be hard pressed. This is BUR, right? Yeah, you'd be hard pressed, Nick DaCosta Clippa, to actually find that in the article. Why? Mayor Wu is urging the city council to act quickly on the redistricting map after a federal judge put a hold last Tuesday on the council district map. No, that's not true. He didn't put a hold on the map. He ruled it unconstitutional and said, you've got to go draw a new map. He didn't put a hold on it. It was ruled unconstitutional. It was ruled racist by the federal judge. So she has put up a new map, I think late Friday. We're not going to get into which district is coming and which district is going, but I will think that this quote here by Anna Munez, God, I mispronounced her name. Forgive me, Anna. Told BUR's Morning Edition that the city councilors were, do you see that here? A bit too frank. That's a quote. Quote, a bit too frank about using race as the top factor when drawing district lines. Listen to her full interview. No one's going to listen to the full interview. So what she admits, Anna Munez, sorry if I got your name wrong, what you are admitting there, Anna, is that if you want to be racist in drawing your city council lines, what you really should do, Anna, and what Anna is telling the city council to do, is just don't say anything, because they were too frank. They said the quiet part out loud, which is that we're redrawing these lines to favor black people to the detriment of white people, to divide people upon their immutable thing, the color of their skin, which they can't control. They said that they were doing it specifically for a racist motivation. A racist motivation. And they basically, Anna says that they shouldn't have said that out loud. They were being a bit too frank. So the next time you're redrawing districts and doing that on a racist basis, just don't say it out loud. Don't say the quiet part out loud. City council, if you had just been silent about your racist motivations, then maybe you wouldn't have to draw the new map. Talking about homelessness, as we did earlier in today, new data from Western Mass says that homelessness is at a 5-year high. 5-year high in Western Mass. This is where housing justice happens. Thank God, housing justice. The number of people experiencing homelessness, why can't we just say homeless? In Western Mass, hit a 5-year high in 2023. According to a report released in January, 3,300 people did not have housing. That's awful. Being homeless must be an awful thing. A group held meetings with homeless advocates and lawmakers Friday to discuss. Springfield's housing director, Jerry McCaffrey, was one of the speakers. And Jerry is a she. Okay. And she was surprised by the spike because factors driving homelessness have gotten worse. Rents are up. The evil landlords. I wonder why rents are up. Could it be because taxes are up? Because inflation is up? Thank you, Joe Biden. It could be that. We don't have enough housing units. Mostly because many places it's very difficult to build. And wait a second. She also said the quiet part out loud. because there's a crisis of immigration and refugees coming into the country. And we know the pandemic had a real impact on people and that some of them have been made more vulnerable. Let me just say that again. It's rents, it's housing units, and there's a crisis of immigration and refugees. Rents, not enough building, and a crisis of immigration and refugees that are creating more homeless people in Western Massachusetts. Man, I imagine she got a phone call after doing this interview and say, "You can't say it's immigration that's causing housing. Get on the playbook here, right? Get on the bandwagon. You can't blame immigration, Jerry McCaffrey, for the housing or the homelessness problem. Never blame our new immigrants, which we're so welcoming of, right? Never blame them for the homelessness problem." All right, I hope she learned her lesson because definitely she was off the reservation there. Oh, that's a phrase you can't say. That's racist, Jack. I can't believe you even uttered that phrase. We had an eviction moratorium that ended. Good, because you know what? The eviction moratorium actually creates more homelessness. The eviction moratorium actually creates more homelessness. Oh, Jack, how does it do that? Because it tells property owners, landlords, and would-be landlords, you know what? If you rent to somebody, you can't evict them. And so why would you want to basically give somebody give somebody a housing unit for free? It's state-sponsored theft. It's state-sponsored theft. And so investors are looking at it and say, why would I create one more rental unit when I know that my tenant can use the state law against me and basically steal the rental unit from me? So why would I create another rental unit? The eviction moratorium creates more homelessness. We had a level of rental assistance in the face of the eviction that had declined precipitously. And so the loss of resources, we have more people experiencing homelessness. So once again, this could be solved by the whole drug thing that we talked about earlier in today's show. Close the border, crack down on illegal drug use, house people that have legitimate mental illness, provide them housing. And not only the border is problem, but the border is problem not only for the fentanyl, but also the people that are coming into Massachusetts, right? As the official in Springfield mentions. Create more housing. That's a free market problem, or so there's a free market solution to that. But of course, none of them want to do that. They just want to tax you. They just want to tax you to oblivion because they don't want to admit their policies fail. All right, so it doesn't bring me a lot of pleasure to bring you this next story, but nonetheless, we're going to cover it anyways, soon as it loads up here. This is a story of a young man who, a couple of years ago, dodged the prosecutorial bullet for some disorderly conduct on an airplane. And we'll see if he's able to do that again because his dad's no longer the governor. So let's see if we can bring this up here. Oh, I don't hear that. Do you hear that? Huh. It might be muted. Let me try that again. Huh. That's interesting. Yes, but it's not playing in my ear. I wonder why that is. Huh, that's a funny thing. Isn't that funny? It's connected. All right. So, anyways, it won't play. So screw it. We'll move on to the next story. That was Andrew Baker getting arrested for DUI, right? Operating under the influence. He's the son of our former governor, Republican Charlie Baker. Rhino. All right. Here are the highest paid. This will be our last story today. Our highest paid state employees in Massachusetts. And the vast majority of them come from the University of Massachusetts. Let's check this list out. Michael Collins, he's the chancellor and senior vice president. He's not even the president of UMass Medical School, $1.2 million. Executive deputy chancellor and provost. These people have fancy job titles. $1.1 million. Basketball coach, $1.1 million. Vice provost for strategic research initiatives, $846 million. Head coach, $825. Former head coach, $822. UMass president. Oh, we always need one of those. $781,000. Well, that's a good job at a good wage, right, Mike Dukakis? Executive vice president for chancellor of innovation and business development, $669,000. Director of athletics, $655,000. CEO of UMass Online. He runs a website, $639,000. Chancellor of UMass, $624,000. We're just going to go over them all. Executive Vice Chancellor of Administration and Finance, Medical School, $623,000. Executive Vice Chancellor of Medical School, $622,000. Chairman of Department of Pathology, $603,000. Head Coach Hockey, $575,000. Medical something school, $569,000. Another medical, $549,000. Chancellor of UMass Boston. Now, I went to UMass Boston, and I can tell you the job is not worth $545,000 to be the chancellor of UMass Boston. That is absolutely ridiculous. UMass Dartmouth, also $545,000. Total ripoff, taxpayer ripoff. Oh, it's not taxpayer. Okay. Eisenberg School, management dean, $541,000. That's a good school from what I hear, by the way. Founding director of Institute of Applied Life Sciences, UMass Amherst, $535,000. Chancellor, UMass Lowell, $532,000. Oh, how do they get? They're down. They're the UMass Boston and UMass Dartmouth is getting more. A hockey coach, $520,000. Adjunct professor of quantitative health sciences, medical school, $489,000. Professor of medicine, $489,000. So, for some of those medical ones, I'm going to say that I don't know enough about that. And some of those medical ones, they may be justified. I'm going to just say, I'm going to hold off on any criticism. But some of those hockey ones and some of the, not hockey, but sports overall and administrators overall, where are our values? Where are the values? $100,000 to be an administrator of a state college? That's outrageous. That is absolutely outrageous. You wonder where your tuition is going to your state colleges and universities? It's going to this type of thing. And this is just the tip of the iceberg because the lard is marbled through the whole system. Right? It absolutely positively is. I mean, those numbers are just insane. I think the one that pisses me off the most is the chancellor of UMass Boston and the chancellor of UMass Dartmouth. $545,000 to run one campus effectively. Just absolutely stupid. One of the other things that also pisses me off about these state colleges is the number of them have changed their names to universities. That's just the dumbest thing ever. Bridgewater State University. You're not a university. You're a college. You just changed the name because you thought the branding was better. Westfield State College. Owls. Woohoo. I've known a number of people who have gone to Westfield State, and now it's a university. No, it's not. Just stop it. You just wanted to change your name so that for the prestige of it, it was just stupid to change the name. Imagine all the money they had to spend to change the name. I know that ship has sailed and that's what it is. And the next thing, of course, is that some places like, Massasoit or Cape Cod Community College, they're going to be one of called universities because they think it's more prestigious coming up soon. It's just insane. All right. So I hope that you can find your $545,000 a year job in Massachusetts. But for the time being, I'm John F. Gately. You can call me Jack, broadcasting to you from Plymouth, America's hometown in Massachusetts. Have a great day.